The final moments of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix proved tense for Ferrari. The team asked Lewis Hamilton to return 8th place to Charles Leclerc, but despite reducing his speed, the British motorist still crossed the finish line 4/10 ahead of the Monegasque. The 7-time world champion faced criticism for this incident, but according to Jacques Villeneuve, Hamilton acted correctly. Lewis Hamilton played it well. He played it very well, Villeneuve told a betting platform, defending the British motorist's controversial decision to maintain position despite Ferrari's instructions. The 1997 world champion's support for Hamilton's actions provides a different perspective on what many viewed as blatant disobedience to team orders. Villeneuve's analysis suggests that the situation was more complex than simple insubordination. Ferrari asked Leclerc to let Lewis pass, but they didn't need to do that. Lewis, with fresh tires, was much faster anyway and would have overtaken him, Villeneuve explained, questioning the necessity of Ferrari's original strategic intervention. This assessment highlights the tactical confusion that characterized Ferrari's race management. Throughout the Azerbaijan weekend, Villeneuve suggests that natural pace differential would have resolved the position question without requiring controversial team orders. During the race, sometime before the controversial episode, Leclerc was the motorist ahead but switched positions with Hamilton so the British motorist could attempt attacks on Lando Norris, Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson using his tyre advantage. The strategic gamble failed to produce the intended results. Hamilton could not capitalize on his fresher rubber to overtake the motorists ahead, making Ferrari's position swap appear pointless in retrospect while creating internal friction between their motorists. When Hamilton's attack proved unsuccessful, Ferrari requested that the 7-time world champion return 8th place to Leclerc. However, despite reducing his pace, the British motorist maintained enough speed advantage to finish 4/10 ahead of his teammate. Villeneuve believed Hamilton's tyre advantage justified his actions. Team orders were unnecessary. I think that's why he didn't want to give back the position, the Canadian explained, suggesting that Hamilton recognized the artificial nature of Ferrari's request. This perspective frames Hamilton's behavior as rational decision-making rather than petulant disobedience. Villeneuve implies that the British motorist understood his superior pace, made position swapping irrelevant to the natural competitive outcome. After the race, Leclerc expressed his frustration through sarcastic radio communication. "I don't care much. It's for 8th place, so it's okay. He can enjoy that P8, the Monegasque stated, with obvious displeasure about the situation. Leclerc continued his pointed comments about Ferrari's handling of the incident. "It's just stupid because it's not fair, but again, I really don't care. P8 or P9, it was a difficult weekend," he concluded, highlighting his broader frustration with the team's performance. The Monegasque motorist's reaction reflected disappointment with both the specific incident and Ferrari's overall competitive struggles throughout the Azerbaijan weekend. His sarcastic tone suggested deeper concerns about team management and strategic decision-making. Team principal Fred Vasseur attempted to minimize the controversy by characterizing the incident as a misunderstanding rather than deliberate defiance. "I think the situation was clear to us. Lewis had a tyre advantage and we asked Charles to let him pass and try to overtake Lawson, Tsunoda, or Norris," Vasseur explained. The French team principal provided additional context about Leclerc's technical difficulties. "Moreover, Charles had an energy recovery problem and our engine wasn't at its best performance. I believe this was the best option for us at that moment," Vasseur continued, justifying the original strategic decision. Vasseur's explanation suggests that Ferrari's team orders reflected genuine technical considerations rather than arbitrary strategic meddling. However, the failed execution and subsequent controversy indicate poor communication and planning throughout the strategic intervention. Villeneuve expanded his criticism beyond the specific incident to encompass Ferrari's broader competitive struggles. The Canadian champion declared that Ferrari is completely lost, reflecting widespread frustration with their 2025 campaign performance. However, the former world champion offered hope for Ferrari's future prospects under new technical regulations. It's just one season. Next year could be the perfect start for Ferrari. They arrive at the first race. The engine is great, the car is fantastic, and it takes time for others to catch up. That's what they should be thinking about now, Villeneuve suggested optimistically. This perspective acknowledges Ferrari's current difficulties while emphasizing the opportunity presented by 2026's regulatory reset. Major technical changes create possibilities for competitive reshuffling that could benefit teams struggling under current regulations. Villeneuve concluded that Ferrari's focus should shift toward 2026 preparation rather than salvaging their disappointing 2025 campaign. I don't think they're focused on the rest of 2025. 2026 is coming, he stated, suggesting strategic prioritization of long-term development over immediate results. The Canadians' analysis reflects broader patterns in Formula One, where teams sometimes sacrifice short-term competitiveness to optimize preparation for major regulatory changes. Ferrari's struggles may justify such strategic reallocation of resources and attention. Hamilton's controversial decision highlights the complex dynamics of team orders when strategic logic appears questionable. The British motorist's superior pace created natural justification for maintaining position regardless of previous agreements or instructions. The incident demonstrates how failed strategic gambles can create unnecessary internal tension within teams. Ferrari's unsuccessful attempt to exploit Hamilton's tire advantage generated controversy without producing competitive benefits. Modern Formula One team orders often reflect complex strategic calculations involving tire performance, fuel loads, and competitive positioning. However, when these calculations prove incorrect, enforcement becomes problematic and can damage team harmony. Hamilton's experience and championship credentials provide him with authority to question strategic decisions that appear counterproductive. His refusal to comply with seemingly illogical instructions reflects mature competitive judgment rather than simple rebellion. The controversy illustrates broader challenges facing Ferrari during their disappointing 2025 campaign. Poor strategic decision-making and execution problems have compounded their technical deficiencies throughout the season. Leclerc's frustrated reaction demonstrates how competitive disappointments can strain internal relationships even when individual incidents appear minor. His sarcastic comments reflect accumulated frustration with Ferrari's ongoing struggles. Team management's response to such controversies often determines their long-term impact on internal dynamics. Vasseur's attempt to minimize the incident suggests recognition that public disputes between motorists serve no constructive purpose. The Azerbaijan incident may represent a turning point in how Ferrari handles strategic decisions involving their motorists. The controversy could prompt improved communication protocols and clearer strategic guidelines for similar situations. Villeneuve's defense of Hamilton provides external validation for the British motorist's decision-making. The Canadian's championship credentials lend credibility to his assessment that team orders were unnecessary and counterproductive. Ferrari's focus on 2026 development may require accepting reduced competitiveness during the remainder of 2025. This strategic choice could minimize the significance of incidents like the Azerbaijan controversy while prioritizing long-term objectives. Do you agree with Jacques Villeneuve that Lewis Hamilton was right to ignore Ferrari's team orders, or should the seven-time champion have complied regardless of the strategic logic behind the instruction? Subscribe for exclusive Formula One analysis and insights into the complex world of team orders and strategic decision-making.